Hello, I'm Robert Webb of Charter Road Scanning in Stonington, Connecticut. And what we're going to talk about today are the various formats of videotapes. Before we had VHS tapes, this was the method that we used to capture family memories, 8mm film. This was the kind of camera that was used. It was a clockwork mechanism, which made the whole concept of adding sound to film very difficult because of this. You then had to wait a few weeks because you had to send this off to Kodak. Kodak would process it and eventually it would come back to you. VHS tapes were first introduced into the market in the early 70s. You were able to film straight away and see the results of your filming right in that moment. And of course the big advantage was it had sound.
Yeah. Moore's got it, he's going to go in for the score!
This one is VHS and this one is Betamax. Now, Betamax was considered at that time to be of superior quality, but it lost the marketing battle. The original thought was that these tapes would only last 25 years. So we're well into 40 years since the 1970s. So it is imperative that these tapes are converted to a digital format as soon as possible. One of the issues about it was how big the camera had to be. So what people did was come out with the next version, which was called a VHS-C, had the same size tape as the standard. And as a compact nature, it could fit into a small camera like this. And this carrier would accept the compact tape. And then you could insert this carrier into your standard VCR player. So by the mid-80s, cameras had got smaller and smaller, and they came out with a version called High 8, which was an 8mm tape. Or if it was manufactured by Sony, they also had a version called Digital 8. Just to make it a little more confusing, they also had a version called High 8. This was a much smaller, compact unit, very much like an audio cassette. The tape would fit very easily into this camera. This happens to be a Sony. This was very popular right the way through to the end of the 90s. By the end of the 90s, yet another format was introduced, and this is referred to as the mini DV. It was getting smaller and smaller, but it was also a digital format. The quality of mini DVs is very high, and there's lots of people still using this kind of film today. Those were the standard formats that most people have in their homes. They're hidden away in people's homes, in their closets, and they are deteriorating. So it's important to get the memories off of here and transformed into a digital format so you can share them with your family for generations to come.